Last but not the least, we have Sanskar Tiwari sir building chat apps with Flutter and Firebase.
It's really gonna awesome.
So, quickly going through the first session on Introduction to Flutter. Please welcome Mrinal sir.
Minal sir is professionally a front-end developer at Field. Also, he is also passionate about open source and web technologies. Minal sir is the lead of Facebook Developer Circles Indore and one among the 200 global leads for Mozilla open source community. Welcome, sir, and over to you for the amazing session.
Hello, everyone. So, welcome everyone to this session. I'm pretty excited to just be part of this amazing event. Just let me know if I'm audible, and uh, we'll start the session with that. Also, let me know in the comment sections which city are you from and which college are you from, so that we just get to know that okay, like this event is really having a global reach. Great. So. Okay. Great. I can see a lot of comments. Okay. So without further ado, let's start the session. So some useful information. Let's keep this session a dialogue. So if you guys have any questions in between whatever I'm speaking about, any doubts regarding any question regarding any topic which I'm speaking on, just feel free to ask in the comment sections. As soon as I'll get some time in between the session, I'll just make sure that I'll answer your questions, or else we can have a small 5 to 10 minutes Q&A session at the end of the session. So just make sure that you do it. Great. Let's start with the introduction to Flutter. I'm really excited for it. So yeah, let's begin. So before the introduction, I would like to quickly wrap up my introduction. I'm Mrinal Jain. I'm working as a community lead for Facebook Developer Circles in Central India. I'm managing the DevC community from past 2 years in Central India region, especially Madhya Pradesh and nearby cities. So that's about it. I'm also a Mozilla representative and tech speaker for Mozilla. I usually speak about their web technologies like WebVR and stuff. That is there. I was also a Microsoft student partner during my college days. I am proud to say that, so I still keep that in my introduction. Yes, I'm also a community manager for Free Code Camp, the organization which usually organizes Hour of Code every December. I'm also an international partner for Code.org, the same organization. I'm a developer evangelist, and last but not the least, I'm also a front-end developer for Feed, a full-time front-end developer, which is now known as the Stage. So cool. That was the introduction of my introduction, and then now let's quickly shift towards today's agenda. So as the introduction went by, that today there are 2 sessions on Flutter. So the initial session which I'll be taking, there would be a lot of introductory notes about Flutter, and the later session which would be happening where there will be having a hands-on part of it. So today in this session, we'll be answering a lot of questions about Flutter, that why Flutter, how it started, where to use. A lot of questions we'll be answering. So all my slides would be based on all these questions. So great. So the very first question is, what exactly is Flutter? Great. So if we go by the definition, I can quickly say that Flutter is a mobile SDK which is designed by Google, and it's basically meant for creating high performance iOS, Android, web, Mac OS, Windows, Linux OS applications. Yes, I named a lot of operating systems, and that's perfectly true. Flutter is used to make all these applications, and that too with just single code base. I'll name those operating system again: iOS, Android, Web, Mac, Windows, and Linux. You can create applications for all these operating system with the help of Flutter, with the help of just one single code base. So that is the basic thing, and that's the only reason why Flutter is like really in the boom nowadays. So that this is the four things which I have mentioned, and there are lots and lots of uh, community contributions which are happening with the help of uh, community members just like you and me, who are really enthusiastic about open source contribution and stuff. So that's the reason Flutter is really booming in the young developers, in the area of young developers. There's one misconception about Flutter. You can't call it misconception, but it's the general trend which is going regarding the Flutter, that Google created Flutter in response to React Native. That is the general terms. If I can see it in the comment section as well, that a lot of guys are saying that React Native is better or Flutter is better, Flutter versus React Native. But in my opinion, these two are completely different when you see them closely. Because let's take an example of React. React uses HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Not exactly HTML, but JSX, right? So React uses that for the complete development cycle. But when it comes to Flutter is just using one single language for all its performances, which is Dart. Correct? Let me know in the comment section if you guys know about Dart, or if someone has ever used it. So this was the basic difference which I wanted to mention, because React is using all the languages which is generally known to us. As I told that it was HTML, CSS, and JavaScript stuff, but Flutter uses Dart, which is just single code base stuff. Correct? Great. I can see that a lot of people has used Dart. That's really great. So now, since the definition of Flutter is clear to us, that what exactly Flutter is and where we can use it. Now, who is Flutter for? So basically, it's I kept this question because it's not just for developers. When it comes to Flutter is not just for developers, because designers can also use the Flutter. Because talking about Dart language, it's relatively new, but it's very easy to learn. It's in comparison to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you have to learn 3 different stuff to perform activity. For designing, you need to learn CSS. For making structure, you need to learn HTML. For providing functionality, you need to learn JavaScript and stuff. But when it comes to Dart, you just need one programming language, and you can help with the help of that particular Dart, you can create UI, as well as you can provide the functionality to that UI, as well as you can make some designing changes to that particular UI with the help of Dart. So that's the beauty of Flutter, and that's the beauty of Dart. With the help of just one language, you can do all that stuff. So that's why I have kept that even designers can also create some really good prototypes with the help of this Flutter. And I have seen so many companies nowadays directly creating their MVPs. MVP, when I say MVP, it's a minimal viable product. They are creating their MVPs with the help of Flutter, and even designers are directly creating the MVPs with the help of Flutter, and delivering the actual or semi-working mobile applications to the developers, so that it really loosens the gap between the designers and developer. Because designers and developers generally have a discussion or a fight about the design and perspective, that this is what you have created, this is not possible in actual coding, and all this stuff happen. But with the help of this Flutter and widgets which are there in Flutter, designer can actually implement whatever design he is trying to create, and he can then deliver it to the developer. So that's what it is. Flutter is for designers as well as developers. And for developers, as I've already mentioned, there are lots and lots of benefits. If there's one single code base which is giving you a functionality, or which is giving you an output of 4 to 5 different operating systems, with just one code base, you can give output of Android and iOS app. That's the best part of it, correct? Another thing, why Flutter is being used or being adopted by a lot of companies is because for me, Flutter seems like a business solution. When we talk about a business solution, for example, there are lots of companies nowadays, like there's Netflix, there's Zomato, there's Dream11, you might have heard about. So I'll give you the latest example of Dream11. So Dream11 just had their Android application before, but what business solutions Flutter provided them was, they shifted their Android application to Flutter initially, and then directly with the help of Flutter SDK, they generated their iOS app without any problem, and without any developer cost or anything. So this is the business solution which Flutter is providing. You tend to use less number of developers, you tend to use less timing. There's lots of money and developer hours which are saved if you are using Flutter. So that's the another important aspect of why and who should be using Flutter. So the companies who are looking for really fast growth and quick development cycles and stuff, they should be using Flutter, and they're already using Flutter. There are so many companies. The latest example is Google Pay applications, which you are seeing. It's completely built out of Flutter. Google Pay application, that's the best example. And let me know in the comment section if you guys have used any application which is like really rich in feature and is built with the help of Flutter. So yeah, that was the one thing which I wanted to share. Great. So let's move ahead now. I spoke a lot of things about Dart, right? There was one important feature which I forgot to mention about Flutter, was hot reload. You might have heard about hot reload feature in web, because that's how everyone has grown towards becoming a developer. A lot of us start with HTML and CSS websites, correct? So when it comes to HTML and CSS, you just need to refresh the browser, and that's how you get the changes, whatever changes you have made in the code. But it was not the case when it in the mobile development cycle. You had to build or rerun the complete app again if you do any small changes in the code. So Flutter provided the feature of hot reload, and hot reload is as it goes by the name. You just make any changes in the code, save the file, it automatically to your mobile application or the debug applications which you have connected to your device or the laptop with the help of USB cable. So that is one feature which Flutter really provides. Now let's come back to the Dart. So I spoke about Dart, that Flutter is nothing without Dart, correct? Because Dart is the actual programming language which is being used inside Flutter. So let's leave aside Flutter for a while, and let's talk about Dart. So Dart being a new programming language, it's generally there's a misconception that like we should learn new programming language, we should switch to new programming language or not, because there are lots of features. There's lots of things available for Android, there are lots of things available for iOS. Why should we, or is it good to switch to Dart? So just a suggestion from my side, just a normal suggestion from my side, that like projects are really important when it comes to learning any programming language, correct? Projects really make you perfect when you are learning any new programming language. So the process which you should follow while learning a new programming language at some point in your career is that just read few stuff about that programming language and quickly jump onto a project. Do that project. If you face any problem, again switch to the new programming language. docs of that for a while and then again switch to the project, because you can't just keep on learning everything. Basically, there's no 100% of learning. I'm still learning JavaScript till date. I started somewhere around like 5 years before, and I'm still learning JavaScript. So there's no 100% of any programming language. You can't learn it for 100%. So quickly jump onto the projects and then quickly jump onto the programming language again, so that you can keep on learning process your learning process for a while. So that's how you can go ahead with the Dart as well, because Dart is really important. It gives you so many product rich features. You can create mobile applications, you can generate a web build as well. So that you don't even need a website now. You're just coding in Dart and you have a website, a mobile application as well. So that's how really important it is. Cool. So a few important things about Dart, which I would like to share now. First and foremost, we have been saying that it's a new language, but actually it's not. Dart is existing since 2012. Yes, if someone knows, just let me know in the comment section. Dart existed since 2012. Some of you might have used Angular. I'm not talking about Angular JS. I'm talking about Angular. In Angular, in the very first version, there was no TypeScript. There was Dart. The Angular very first version, which was Angular JS, correct? The very first version of Angular, which was Angular JS, it was built with the help of Dart. But due to some functionality issues, or due to some like some other issues, or like it was not maybe working great at that particular time in 2012, Google dropped the idea of using Dart at that particular time, and then they started with TypeScript in Angular. So at that time Dart existed. So that is the thing which is there. So Dart is there, and work on Dart is being going on since that particular time. So it's not a new language. Also, it's object oriented. So the word object oriented, whenever the word object oriented comes, right, you just start thinking about classes, objects, and polymorphism and inheritance and all this jargons. But yeah, that's how it is. Like, you all must be familiar with this stuff, right? You all must be. It's object oriented, so it will be definitely easy for you guys to just catch up with the Dart, correct? And it's very similar to C and JavaScript or Java, because all the things like loops and uh, conditions and switch statements and all this stuff, variables and all this stuff, it's like almost all the programming languages are same in this stuff. But yes, if you are shifting from JavaScript or Java background, basically from a web developer background, it would be very easy for you to just quickly get to know about Dart, because it's almost the same, the writing and stuff, correct? It's statically typed. So those who don't know what's exactly the statically type thing means is, like, whenever you declare a variable, you need to also mention what type of, or which type of data will be stored inside that particular variable, correct? So that's how that's what a statically typed language means. So in Dart as well, you need to basically mention, for example, I'm defining a variable which would be having a name of a city, so I need to mention that it's a string. Similarly for all the variables like integers, booleans and stuff. So that's one thing which you should know about Dart, correct? And the last thing, which is, it has multiple run environments, which I've already mentioned, that just when you write Dart, in output you can expect different platforms code. You're writing Dart, but if you'll generate a iOS build out of it, it would be converted into the Swift code. If you are generating a Android build out of it, it would be converted into that particular specific Java Kotlin environment. If you are creating a web build out of it, the code would be converted into that particular TypeScript environment. So that's how or that's that's the really important feature of the Dart, that it runs on multiple environments, and there's no mediator which is required. You just need Flutter SDK. That's all. So these are the really important features which are there for Dart, and it also gives you an assurance that there's nothing new to Dart. It's just the name of the programming language, and few things in bits and pieces which you should just get to know, and you can start working with the Dart. And talking about the working environment, it's VS Code is the best place where where you can work with it. Okay, so great. Now, coming back to the Flutter. So now we have a basic understanding of Dart. You can for learning Dart, you can definitely go to the docs of the official docs of the Flutter.io website, and there you will be getting so many documentations. Especially if you are switching from a web developer side, like you used to write HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and now you want to write Flutter. There's a whole series of documentation available, and similarly for different cases. If you were an Android developer and then you were shifting to Flutter, there's a documentation available for that as well. Same for iOS developer and other stuff as well. Great. I've been receiving a lot of questions regarding the Flutter web. Flutter is available for web build as well, but it's still in beta mode. But the beta mode is also looks really great. I have like personally tried a few websites, and it really works really well. So you just need to use it in the beta mode. So basically, Flutter is available in different channels. One being the master channel, which is directly connected to the master repository of the Flutter repository, and then there are stable channel, there is beta channel, and this stuff. So it's suggested to use stable channel for the development builds, but if you want to use the web version of Flutter as well, you need to switch to the beta channel of the Flutter. So that's how it goes. There are 3 to 4 channels on which Flutter is available. So that's how it is. Great. So coming back to the Flutter part of it. So I was talking about why Flutter is really important, and why we should adopt it, and why it is good for the developers as well as the designers as well. Correct. So if we have a look at this UI part of a screen which is visible to you guys. So when talking to a designer and a developer regarding this particular screen, it's clear that we'll definitely receive 2 different answers, right? From a designer point of view and from a developer point of view, we'll receive 2 different information regarding this particular, or 2 different observations regarding this particular UI. Correct. And which will obviously lead to 2 different understanding for the same UI. Correct. Because developer looks at the design from the basically from the row and column perspective, right? That okay, this would be built in a row and this would be built in a column and stuff. Correct. And designers might tend to think in different direction. Like when it comes to designing. But what Flutter gives is, if a designer also has a knowledge of Flutter, correct? So, and developer also has a knowledge of Flutter, so they can together have a same thinking regarding Flutter, because Flutter is also like designing UI on Flutter is also based on the grid system, just like we use it in the HTML, or talking about HTML Bootstrap. Generally what we use a grid system, and other CSS frameworks provide us. It also provides us a grid system, but more flexible grid system when I say, because in Bootstrap and in other CSS frameworks, we generally tend to get stuck at a lot of places, that how we'll do this, how we'll do that. But that's not the case in the Flutter. So if we had to divide this particular UI in different sections, so this is what it might look like. Correct. Initially we'll be having a column. We have a column widget in Flutter as well, and then inside that particular column, if an item is a full width item, you don't need to do anything, just place an image. And if there's an item which has there's a row which has multiple items, then you can create multiple grids of that particular item. So this is how it would look. So if we had to divide, there are rows and columns which are mentioned, and there are grids. If you will see, there's a call, route, and share, footer. So there's a grid also happening. Is there any overlapping element? If there is any overlapping element, just like we had an option of positioning elements in HTML and CSS, we have a stack widget available in Flutter as well. And trust me, like positioning elements in HTML was really hard. Like the position, static position. I haven't used HTML in so many days. There are, I guess, 4 types of positions: static and all that stuff, fixed and stuff. It really gets messy to like manage all that stuff. But there's just one single stack element available in Flutter, which really helps you a lot. It just quickly helps you with the positioning of the elements. So if there are any overlapping elements, you can use stack widget. I'm using the term widgets a lot. Widgets will come to the later part. Basically, you can understand widget as a similar concept like a HTML tag used to be. There was a div in HTML, and there was a different span and all those stuffs in HTML, and in Flutter there are different widgets, but they are really useful. So, and then going ahead with the design, are there any tabs? We can have a look at it. Are there any padding, alignments, or borders in the design? So this is what the common perspective of developer and designer would be, and it would be much easier to sort of build the design if it's clearly worked with the help of the Flutter. Cool. Now I've brought down that particular design to more granular level, so that it's easier for those people to understand who are not from the HTML CSS background, that how to basically divide, or how to divide a design into much granular parts, so that you can understand that, okay, this is how I need to code this particular part of the design. So taking just one row, you can then divide that particular row into 3 different grids, and then every particular grid would be having a column, because icon and the text which is related to that particular icon are coming one above other. So that's how it is. And then again, that particular icon and that particular text. So all this red highlighted area which you are seeing, everything, every red box in Flutter is a widget. So the icon which you are seeing at the uh, lowest level, that is a widget in Flutter. Text which you are seeing, share, route, and call, that is also a widget in Flutter. The whole red row which you are seeing, that is a widget. Every particular group of icon and text which is inside a column is also a widget in Flutter. So there's everything available. Every design or every design concept is available in form of a widget in Flutter. You don't need to do anything. Rest everything would be managed by Flutter. You just need to use that particular widget, and rest everything, responsiveness and managing that padding and stuff in between the icons and different mobile screens and stuff, that all is taken care by Flutter. You just need to pick the correct widget option, and that's all you need. And there's another example, again a bit complex one, but yeah, that's how you will divide it into Flutter widgets. There would be a row, and then there would be a column in which there are text one another, and then again there's icon and there's a text. So this is how you divide a UI while creating the actual code out of it. This is how it happens. Great. So that was the UI part of it. Now if we want to have a look at the actual code part of it, so I have created a small comparison in between HTML and Dart. So for creating a simple box in HTML, what we have to do is we have to create a div, and I have given it a class of gray box. So that's the HTML part of it. Now we'll come to the CSS part of it. I gave a background color, width, height, and font. So you can just imagine in your minds that how it will be looking. Correct? How it would be looking is it would be a box with a width of 320 pixel and a and a height of 240 pixel, and the background color would be somewhere around gray, and the font size would be 900 pixels, and uh, font weight would be 900, size would be 24 pixel, and the family would be Georgia. So it's a shorthand for mentioning all the font properties. So that's how it would be looking. So now let's come to the Dart part of it, right? So I have taken I'm defining the complete widget inside a variable. So variable's name is container, so that I can use it wherever I want to. So the actual part of the Dart starts from the definition of the variable. So I'm taking a container initially. So just like div is there in HTML, there's container inside the Flutter. Everything is a class in a Flutter. When I'm speaking about widget, you can in terms of object oriented programming, you can understand it as a class, correct, or a object. So I have taken a container, then container's child is another widget, and the name of the widget is text widget. Why? Because we need to write lorem ipsum inside it. So I have defined a text widget inside it. Now right there, you can also define style. You can also define style in HTML as well, but you need to write CSS over there. Here everything is in the form of key value pairs when it comes to Dart. So right below the text property, you can define the style property of that particular text. It's easier to understand: font size, font weight, and font family. So that completes our text widget. Now continuing the code, you can provide the width, which is 320, then the height, and then the color. So this complete line of code will give you the same gray box which we used to see in the Dart. So this is the basic comparison when it comes to HTML and Dart, and you must be now feeling that okay, it's not that difficult. It's pretty much easier to shift from HTML to Dart. So basically, this example I gave just to make all those web developers feel comfortable who want to shift to mobile application development from web development, because it's the best bridge possible ever to quickly shift from web development to mobile app development. That is Dart and Flutter. So this was the example which you can see, and almost all the widgets are similar. This was just one example. There are so many things available in HTML, which is like select box, model, bottom sheets, and stuff. Similarly, there are all the widgets available in Flutter as well. You can go to the website, which is flutter.dev/docs development UI. I'll share this in the comment section and with the team as well, so that they can give it to you, or I'll share the PPT at the end. So there are lots and lots of widgets of Flutter which are available. You can just Google it, Flutter widget catalog, and you'll see that there are all the widgets available, buttons and stuff other. Cool. So yeah, these are the two websites which are available for Flutter. Now that's the that was the basic introduction of the widgets in the Flutter. Now, be it any programming language, or be it any new technology, right? It's really important to talk about how efficient it is while working, correct? Because ultimately, being a developer, you don't want to be frustrated with the document supports which are available for that particular programming language, or how easily it is I'm getting the support of any error if I'm getting, or how easy it is to debug that particular programming language, correct? How easy it is to make a build out of it, correct? So that is the most important worry which is there for the developers. But in case of Flutter, there are lots and lots of built-in tools which are available with the Flutter SDK, which really makes your development cycle really streamlined. There are lots of tools available. One which I definitely told was hot reload feature. you just need to save your code, and there in your mobile application it would be reflected. So that is one of the efficient tooling. A few basic commands of the Flutter. Obviously, if you want to install Flutter, you can directly go to flutter.io, and then you can download their SDK and install it. After that, there are a few commands which are really important, which I'll just take you through. There's Flutter Doctor command available, which basically excuse me, yeah, which checks your environment and displays a report at the terminal window. So it would just check your system for all the functionalities that they are available or not, because Flutter does a lot of work for you, right? It gives you iOS application, it gives you a web version of your application, it gives you a Android version of application as well. So it just checks that all the important things are available or not, and if not, it gives you a suggestion that okay, you can install it from here and you can install it for here. For iOS, uh, there are a few other requirements, but for Android, you just need the Android SDK in your system, and rest you can work on VS Code as well. You don't need to go switch your IDE and work on Android Studio. Even if you're a web developer and you are comfortable with VS Code, you can just go ahead with VS Code and install Flutter extensions on VS Code and start working on Flutter right from VS Code itself. And even if you want to create a build of your project, you can directly create it from VS Code itself. So you don't need to switch your IDE. When it comes to iOS, definitely there's the one basic requirement for you can definitely code for code in Dart, but if you want to create iOS build, correct, if you want to create a iOS build and test it, so for that definitely you will be needing a MacBook, a Mac OS, because you will be needing Xcode to sign the file and all that stuff. So that is one limitation which is there, but it's the limitation is there from the iOS side, because they just don't allow it. So for creating iOS application, you don't need to worry about anything, but just the uh, publishing part of it, or just the creating the final build for that particular thing, you will be needing a Mac OS. Otherwise, for the complete development cycle, there's no need of Mac OS or anything. You can directly work on your VS Code on any operating system. And then there's a Flutter upgrade command, which just upgrades your SDK and all the packages which are available for the so this I'm taking you through the some important aspects of the folder which are there in the Flutter. Great. Okay, so another thing which is there in Flutter is the pubspec.yaml file. You might have heard about a lot of, so in case of Flutter, we have a pubspec.yaml file. It contains all the metadata about the package and the project. When we talk about metadata, it's basically name of the project and description and the dependencies of the project, correct? So that is all the things which are available. In case of Flutter, you can define a lot of assets which would be there in the folder, and all those stuff you can mention in the pubspec.yaml file. It's as similar to as if you are using AngularJS, there's angular.json. If you are using Android development, there's a Gradle file which is there in your Android application. So similarly, it's the configuration file of Flutter as well. Now, there are different ways of mentioning the dependencies. In the last slide, you can see that for Firebase auth is explained as mentioned as 0.2.5 version. And if you want to limit the package in between two versions, you can also write it in this particular manner as well. So that it would just stay in that particular range. Great. Then obviously, once you are done writing your package file, you can run the packages get command, so that it would just download all the packages, and you'll get the latest version of it. And if you want to upgrade the packages at any particular time, you can just directly use this command and you can upgrade it. So there are a few other commands as well, which is like Flutter format, so that if you want to beautify your code automatically, you can just run this command and it would just make sure that it really beautifies the lines of the code which are available. Then there's another really important feature which is provided by Flutter, is Flutter Analyze. So what Flutter Analyze does is it really gives you a lot of important aspects, lot of information about the build which you are creating, be it Android or be it iOS. One of the really important or standout feature which I would like to mention is it gives you the weightage of all the packages which you are using. So if you are using, let's say, 10 or 15 packages, it would really give you that, okay, out of 100% which your app is taking, 1% or 5% of the sizes of this particular package, rest of the size 2% of is this package. So it really gives you an bird eye view of your complete application, and you get a chance to decide that, is this really package really important? Do I need to invest let's say 100 KB or 500 KB in this particular package? Can I write something else so that I can reduce the app size and stuff? So it gives you that particular feature, and it really helps when you are deciding to bring down the size of your application. It really helps you to find out all the possible mistakes and extra code which you have written. So that's how it is. Okay, the hot reload feature I have already covered, which is it just gives you a really important. It really saves your time basically, because you don't have to run the application every time. You just do the change and it directly reflects on your system. Here you can see an example of the hot reload feature. On the right side, there's a demo application which is running, and on the left side, on the line number 44, what I did was that I just changed the counter plus plus to counter minus minus, so that we have to check that, okay, our hot reload feature is working or not. And then I will click on the plus icon, and you will see that it directly reflected. There was no need to do any hard reload or anything. It just directly reflected. So that is one feature of uh, hot reload. And not just the values, if even if you change important stuffs in your functions or anything, it just directly reflects. So that's about the hot reload feature. Now, one thing which we left behind was widgets, correct? They were we had discussed about few basic widgets, which were container and text and column and stuff. So Flutter is all about widgets. When you are creating a UI in Flutter, it's all about widgets. There's a widget available for every UI element which you want to create, be it image, be it a video, audio, text, paragraph. Any UI which you will be seeing is would be having a specific widget allocated to it, correct? I gave you a URL of widget catalog. You can also visit that particular URL to just have a look. So talking about technical aspects of it, widgets are divided into two types when it comes to Flutter, correct? If we let's take an example in terms of HTML and CSS. There are so many elements, there are so many tags in HTML, correct? But when you have to do any DOM manipulation, how we generally do it, we do it with the help of JavaScript, correct? For example, on any button click, I want to show or hide any element. On any text input, I want to change the color of any box, or all this types of DOM manipulations we generally do in HTML and CSS. But all the elements are defined in just one manner in HTML and CSS. But here, in case of Flutter, they are divided into two different categories, correct? So one is stateless and other is stateful. As you can see, few examples of stateless widgets which are mentioned over here. Image is a stateless widget, text is a stateless widget, and in case of stateful widget, there is scrollable, there's any metable. So with the help of examples, you might have got some understanding that how we are differentiating stateless and stateful. I'll mention it again. So stateless widgets are used for immutable elements, correct? So what are immutable elements? Basically, they just rely on the object configuration. So immutable elements are basically those elements. For example, some data appeared from API and then it was feeded into that particular widget, and that's it. Now that won't be changed for the complete app life cycle. For example, if there's a card with the if there's a for example, if there's an app which has a movie listing, so there would be a card with a movie's image, and then at the below there would be name of that particular movie, correct? So data would be fetched from API, and uh, at the place of image will uh, feed the image, at the place of the text will put the text. Now until you just close the app or do anything, those two informations will never change, correct? We'll if we'll get 10 items, we'll repeat it for 10 cards. If we'll get 20 items, we'll repeat it for 20 cards, but there won't be any interaction. If user clicks on the image, it would go to some other page on the routing, but there won't be any difference happening to that image or that text. So these can be considered as a stateless widget because they are immutable elements and they just rely on the object configuration. Whatever data they received from API, they have the value of it, and that's all. They are not going to change, correct? But talking about stateful widgets is used for elements that can dynamically change based on the state, correct? Let's take an example of mm, music application. There's a option to listen a lot of music over there. You have a list, you search something, and then there's an option to add to playlist. There's an option to mark as favorite. There are lots of these options. So in so options like this, functionalities like this, when on the base of user interaction, there is some change happening to that particular widget. You can take example of scrollable or animatable as well. Based on user interaction, they are changing, they are getting scrolled. In case of playlist, based on button click, the playlist is being added to the favorite section, or it's being added to the current playlist section. So all these elements which can be dynamically changed based on the user interaction or based on the state of application, all these widgets are considered as stateful widget. So these are the basic two differentiations which were done for the types of widget. So you need to take care of this. So we covered the stateful and stateless. So these are the few basic examples which like I have created with the help of Flutter, and all these are available in the form of widgets. So even if you'll see very complicated designs, when you'll see the widget catalog of Flutter, all things are almost available to use, like a carousel, like a swipeable feature when the image is getting changed and stuff, the counter and stuff, everything is available in the form of widgets when it comes to Flutter. Great. So these were the examples. One last thing about the Flutter which I would like to mention is like, being it a cross-platform or a hybrid mobile development platform, there would be times when you will be requiring to communicate to the actual native OS, correct? Because at the end of the day, there might be some functionality which is really not available in Flutter, and you need to write it into the Android, or you need to communicate to the that particular Android or that particular OS. You can talk about picture-in-picture mode. PIP mode is available in Android, but until the latest iOS update, it was not available in iOS. So there can be few functionalities which are platform dependent. For those functionalities, you will be needing platform channels platform channels are basically those things which are the bridge between the Flutter and that particular OS, which communicate for any specific functionality. So it's just very simple. If you have worked on Android, it would be much easier for you to understand. If you have worked on web, not a difficult concept to understand. So you have a Flutter app at one side, and they can be different hosts. I have taken iOS as a host, and I have taken Android as a host. They can be web platform also as a host. So you create a method channel for every specific platform, and that method channel acts as a bridge. So all the changes, all the uh, functionalities which you have to sort of uh, do, which are platform specific, you can do with the help of method channel. What method channel does is it takes your information to that particular OS and brings out specific information from the OS. For example, if you want to know the battery level, if you want to use some gallery features of the OS, which are really platform specific, for those kind of stuff, you need to use platform channels. And then you can, and the codes are easily available for all this functionality. For example, if I need a method channel for getting battery level, there are codes available for iOS, there is code available for Android. It's readily available for all the functionalities. For camera feature, for gallery feature, it's readily available. So we just need to copy paste when it comes to method channel, because not a lot of us might be knowing about iOS and Android. Not a lot of us might be knowing how to write in Swift and stuff. So there are code which are readily available. You can directly use it. So that was about the method channel. Great. So we are coming towards the end of the session. So these are few introductory blogs or resources which I would suggest you guys to just go through it, so that you get more basic information about Flutter. It's available. I'll share the PPT so you guys can just go through it, or if you want, you can take the screenshot of this particular session or this particular screen again. Great. One last thing. As we don't have much time left, so if you want to actually go towards the and try the very first project in Flutter, just go through this URL or just scan this particular barcode. You will go to the it will redirect you towards the code lab, where there's a basic uh, mechanism explained of how to create your very first Flutter app, and do some basic changes and get a gist of how actually Flutter is working. So yeah, that's all from my side. I tried to cover almost each and every important aspect of Flutter, so that you guys really get excited about that. Okay, Flutter is the thing which we would like to use. That's the almost end of our session. If there are any questions, I would definitely answer them in the YouTube comment section itself, because we don't have much time. You can also contact me on this various social media handles. Also, if you have any questions, either directly ping me, or I'll just go through the comment section and try to answer those questions as well. Yeah, so that's all from my side. Thanks a lot for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. That's a great, awesome, and insightful session.
Yeah, completely agree. That was really great. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us, and thank you for the amazing session. Um, Also, we don't have very much time right now to take up the questions. So, sir, you have any like prayer questions with to ask Manal sir? You can reach out to him on like Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And so, yeah, so we will be continuing to our session now. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us.
Thanks a lot.
So, continuing to the session, what we have in the bucket list next, Piyush?
Well, it's time for the web development and designing. For this, please welcome Vrijraj Singh sir. Vrijraj Singh sir is a front-end web developer by profession and